Very good morning. Welcome to Otepyaa, the winter sports capital of Estonia, for Classic Sprint Day. And the temperature here, quite pleasant, -8. That might sound a little strange to say, but the cloud cover has made it feel a lot warmer than the temperature suggests, as we now look forward to the quarterfinal stage of both the men's and women's classic sprints. The women will be racing over 1.2 kilometers, and the men over a slightly longer loop of 1,400 meters. Well, earlier on today we had the qualification. In the women's qualification, Hannah Falk was the fastest in qualification, 3:08.62, a little bit faster than Marit Björgen, with Slovenia's Katja Visnar actually faster than teammate Petra Maric. Well, as ever, if you are joining us for the first time, the rules of the game, so to speak, are we have 5 quarterfinals. First 2 across the line qualify for the semis, and then it's down to lucky losers. As you see, Doris Traxel and now Daria Gajova. The leader in the sprint rankings is actually Keegan Randall, who's not involved here today in this classic sprint. The American getting ready for the World Championships. Katarina Smutner, formerly from the Czech Republic, in this first one. Now, of course, representing Austria. And Hannah Falk lining up here. Hannah Falk, the winner of this competition 12 months ago, ahead of Petra Maric and Aino Kaiser Saarinen. Really good crowd in this really lovely new facility as they come to the line here. This is what I call a really smooth track, but nonetheless quite a demanding one, with 3 separate climbs. And then, as you'll see when they come to the finish, a really long 200-meter straight, which will require an awful lot of double poling. So Kirsi Perälä getting away there for Finland to set the pace here, and you can see almost immediately on the climb. But when I said smooth, you'll see when they come to the top, little turn, but it's really enjoyable to ski this. In second place there, the Swede Hannah Falk in white. And then following down, Smutner wearing 10, just on the left there, on the right wearing 20. That is Denise Herrmann for Germany. And those 4 ahead of Doris Traxel of Switzerland in the darkish outfit, about 2 from the back there. And Gajova of Canada at the moment just trailing. And again, another little bit of a climb, and then now really nicely down into the glide position here. Temperature today means that the servicemen shouldn't have really had any problem at all in preparing the skis. And Hannah Falk, currently 5th in the rankings, just challenging up there on Kirsi Perälä. And then right behind, 20, that's Denise Herrmann. And Indian file at the moment as they come back into the stadium complex. Round they go. Again on the climb here. Quite interestingly designed, this course. It gives the spectators more visibility, those who stay in the stadium. A stadium which has had some 6 million euros of investment, some from the European Union funds. So you and me have been contributing to this new facility, but it is very good. And now Perälä shoulder to shoulder there with Hannah Falk. Hannah Falk from Torby, just 21 years of age. Second in the freestyle sprint in Liberec. That would be her best result so far this season. But as I said, the winner here last year, now having to just work a little bit more now. And they're all in a big bunch and moving up there. Doris Traxel of Switzerland into 4th place. And now it's Smutner and Gajova who are struggling at the back. Gajova's not really ever got into this. And Hannah Falk, you can see what I said about the finish here. It's a long, long way. Double poling, and this is where Falk is really using her strength here. Pulling it out here. and really moving, and Gajova suddenly moving up into second place to get the automatic qualifying place. That's a good sprint from Gajova, who comes home, in fact, ahead of Smutner. Those two coming from the back late, saving their power. Smutner must wait and see whether she's got a lucky loser spot. 3:06.8, the time for the first of our 5 quarterfinals, and that would make Smutner 3:07.4. That's her time if she wants to get in as a lucky loser. So Hanna Falk, defending champion, safely through. Gajova, good effort from the Canadian. And clearly, that's an interesting tactic here to save your power for that long straight coming into the stadium. That penultimate climb, and then you have to really work hard. Second quarterfinal coming up, which sees Petra Maric, who's third in the sprint rankings. Here she is with Pirjo Moranen. Now, yesterday in the women's 10K, Petra Maric only 9th, Moranen 14th. And the Finns, actually, their chances of a lot of medals in the World Championships, I have to say, at the moment, looking a little distant. This is another of the Finns there, Anna Kilonen. Lucia Anger for Germany, representing the youngsters from Germany coming through, but very much in the sprint division. Chandra Crawford, of course, former Olympic champion, but a freestyle champion, not a classic champion. Astrid Jakobsen, this is a code in which she can do well. It's good to see her back to something like her very best. And Pirjo Moranen, Maninen as she was before being married, and Petra Maric, as ever, kisses to everybody. Well, you'd expect Maric to prevail here in terms of performance over the seasons. Maric on the near side. Maric, the winner here in 2009 and the year before. Verpi Koitinen, another famous winner. And over the years, really, we've had very few surprises. The favourites have generally turned up on this course. And Maric straight into the lead there for Slovenia on this first climb, getting a really good track position. Chandra Crawford on the right there in that whitish outfit. That's the Canadian Olympic champion. And now just moving up nicely there, that's Astrid Jakobsen in the all red for Norway. On the right of your picture, that's Moranen, first ever freestyle sprint champion. And it's worth remembering that actually in the upcoming World Championships, the individual sprint will be freestyle skating. The team sprint will be in classic mode. So people like Petra Maric to have best chance, because they are, Maric is still a better performer in classic style. She'll be looking for a partner, possibly Katja Wisner, who goes in quarterfinal number 5. And as you can see, most of the spectators gathered in the stadium complex now. Moranen and Maric and Jakobsen. Jakobsen in the red on the left there, and there's 4 of them involved now. And Chandra Crawford, well, the pace is too much for her now into this strong double poling section. You can see this is where the power of Maric is coming on, but 24-year-old Jakobsen also looking to get position there. Also the German, that's Lucia Anger, who's right shoulder to shoulder there with Astrid Jakobsen. Just this little climb takes them out of the stadium, but takes them almost immediately back into the stadium, and then the very long drive for home. And just a bit of nervousness you sense from Astrid Jakobsen. Look at the gap that's opened up here. And in fact, Lucia Anger getting got a better glide there than Astrid Jakobsen. And it's going to be a battle for 3rd place. The time is going to be interesting here. Lucia Anger just about in 3rd place, still holding off Astrid Jakobsen, but for how much longer, I wonder. from Oberstdorf. She's on the left of those two, but it's Maric now. Look at the power of Maric. Look at the leverage and the drive as she goes towards the finish now, being pursued by Muranen. And those two are going to go through. Jakobsen winning the battle. Lucianga of Germany just running out of gas, and it's all about time. 3:06.8 was the first time, and this needs to be a little bit quicker for Jakobsen. 3:05 it is, and Jakobsen just makes it into third place there, ahead, I think, of Ann Kilonen of Finland. And 3:05, but 2.6, that makes her 7.8. And Jakobsen, well, she's going to need luck on her side there. Maric and Muranen safely through to join Falk and Gajova. Well, too early to tell about lucky losers at this particular moment. Of course, Marit Bjørgen, she goes in quarterfinal number 4. 43rd victory yesterday. Today could be number 44. And if it is, then she's just going to be one behind the legendary Jelena Valbe. Confirmation of that second quarter-final there. And Astrid Jakobsen, who looked really uncomfortable, really had to work hard. And not sure that that's going to be rewarded with a place in the semis. We just have to wait and see. Real wintry conditions here in Otepää, as you see. Aino Kaisa Saarinen now. Saarinen, who was 4th yesterday. I thought that wasn't a bad effort from Saarinen. And Ingrid Flug Osberg. Not particularly quick, I have to say, in qualifying. And a big cheer for the local runner. And that's Piret Pourmeister. Hanna Brodin. Hanna Brodin trying to add to Sweden's chances, and Lena Andersson as well. So a lot of Swedes, 3 Swedes in here. Lena Andersson, former World Classic silver medalist in Oberstdorf in 2005, and Britta Norgren, who ran in the 10K yesterday, finished in 20th place. Interesting to see how she gets on. She's a little bit down in the rankings, the sprint rankings, only in 21st place. This is only the 3rd classic sprint of the season. There are a lot more after the World Championships. Pretty good start in the end there, and a really strong effort by Saarinen going out on the far side. Saarinen, who had the fastest qualifying time, 3:10.65, compared to Anna Falk's best qualifying time of 3:08.62. But Saarinen, well, she could be a complete handful for everybody, particularly in this phase of the competition. Saarinen, who's had plenty of 4th place finishes in major championships. And 15 right behind her there, that's Lena Andersson. 6 on the near side, that's Britta Norgren going through. Britta Johansson Norgren, I should say. 25 in the dark outfit, Piret Pourmeister. And in red, that's Ingvild Flugstad Ørsberg. Just 20 years of age, the Norwegian. Getting stronger all the time. She was a massively impressive junior racer with no less than 4 junior world medals over the last couple of seasons. But as you can see now, Saarinen has really put pedal to the metal here. And she's being pursued very strongly there by Lena Andersson, and also with her there, Britta Norgren. And those 3 got a bit of a break, but how much energy are they using? We've seen already that conserving energy for that final double pole is really important. Ørsberg, not comfortable. The rhythm is really upsetting her at the moment. And then just behind her is the other Swede, that's Hanna Brodin, who hasn't really got into this. And Saaren setting a punishing pace here, right at the back, almost taken off her feet there. Piret Poemeister for Estonia. So the front two now. Saarinen still with that edge. Good glide on the skis from Saarinen. Anticipation on the corner. Trackcraft again coming in there, takes the lead. So Finland, then three Swedes, closing up now. Hanna Brodin trying to close up at the back there. And Britta Norgren on the right of your picture. Following Saarinen is Lena Andersson. And now the strength really comes in. This is where the lactate starts to build up. The arms start to burn. And there's five looking for two automatic qualifying places now. Saarinen still at the front of affairs. Needs to be careful. Doesn't need to skate here. Being burned on by two Swedes on the far side. Look at the power of Norgren and Brodin coming through. And Lena Andersson. It's almost like a Swedish wall. What a terrific piece of power. Amazing piece of power there. And Hanna Brodin really charging. Lena Andersson in third place and Saarinen now 3:04.5. That is the critical factor because that is the fastest quarter-final. And at the moment, Andersson and Saarinen would go through as lucky losers because they are 0.2 and 0.5 off that time, which means that, in fact, Saarinen in fourth place would have a time of 3:04, 3:05 exactly, which is 0.4 faster than Madic. So Brodin, fantastic power from Brodin. Good effort from Norgren. They go through by right. Andersson and Saarinen must wait, but they must think that they've got chances. Well, they'll be hoping, those women in that quarter-final, that they're not outsped by the participants in the next two quarter-finals. And it's Marit Bjørgen bidding today for World Cup career victory number 44. Up against her arch-rival, Justyna Kowalczyk. In picture here, this is Chekaleva. I thought she was really good yesterday. Sixth place in the 10K Classic for the Russian. 22, this is Steffi Böhler, who was actually 16th, representing Germany. And then another of the Germans, Hanna Kalb. Hanna, who is 27th in the sprint rankings, the Wiesmann World Cup leader, not in the sprints, but in the overall. That's, of course, Justyna Kowalczyk, who was second yesterday by some distance to Marit Bjørgen. Classic specialist, Madoka Natsumi, representing Japan. And last, but certainly not least, Marit Bjørgen, who yesterday, with her 43rd victory, overtook Bente Skori, who is the technical delegate here, Bente Martinsson as she was, and is only second in the all-time list of victories to Jelena Valbe. Marit Bjørgen, by virtue of her fastest qualifying time, getting the pole position on the near side lane into the first little turn and on the climb, but being kept company, as you can see, but makes the turn really well. Madoka Natsumi to her right, and the Japanese striding up there. Natsumi, she really is a very effective racer, particularly in classic and particularly in sprints. Now 32 years of age, the Japanese racer, just tucking into second place ahead of Kowalczyk. One podium in her career in World Cup for Natsumi, and that was in Stockholm some 3 years ago in the classic sprint around the King's Palace. But it is Marit Bjørgen who commands at the moment, and she'll be looking to win this decisively, to get a good lane draw position as well. Marit, 30 years of age, the dominant figure, of course, in last season's Winter Olympics with gold medals over 15 kilometers in the pursuit, the classic sprint final. She is the Olympic classic sprint champion. And Bjørgen, so far this year, with sprint victories in Gällivare, freestyle, Kuusamo, classic style, and also a good effort in Kuusamo as well. So Marit Bjørgen, as they come back into the stadium now, and you can just see she is in such good shape. Incidentally, she won't be going to Rybinsk. She'll be going back to the Norwegian Championships after this, and Kowalczyk going into second place there. That engine really working. And then Natsumi, and then 19 behind, that's Hanna Kolb of Germany. Just trading at the back there, Chekaleva. So Marit Bjørgen has really stretched them out here now. This is pretty interesting to see this sort of margin. Marit Bjørgen, when they come back into the stadium, she can't really relax because it's such a long straight, and you could easily be caught out by just taking your foot off the accelerator. And you can see that Kowalczyk determined to get some points. Interesting listening to her after the race yesterday. She said, I'm really focusing on the World Championships. I'll deal with the World Cup afterwards. She is going to go to Rybinsk, though, Justyna Kowalczyk. And they pulled away a long way away. Quick little adjustment there by Marit Bjørgen. And look at this. 2 full ski lengths ahead of Justyna Kowalczyk, who is working her heart out. She knows that it's dangerous to take her foot off the pedal. 3:04.3. Now, Bjørgen, 3:04.3. Kowalczyk goes through by right. That means Hanna Kolb in third place for Germany would be 3:05.8, which still means that Saarinen and Anderson are in with a shout of lucky loser places. Because although the front two were quicker than anybody else, well, Marit Bjørgen was quicker than anybody else, the fact is that the others were sufficiently behind to put their continuation in the competition in doubt. One more quarter-final to go. And this is heat number 5. Slovenia, Katja Wisner, who might be partnering Petra Maric in the World Championships. Let's meet them. This is Jenny Öberg for Sweden. Slowest time of these 6. And next to her should be, and indeed is, Kari Vikhagen Kjeiknes, representing Norway. And then Elena Soboleva. Very interesting to see the number of new Russians who are coming through, this new generation. 13 today. Kertu Niskanen, really impressed. I thought she had a really good race yesterday, finishing 10th in the 10K Classic. And then the 7th best sprinter of the season so far, Maiken Kaspersen-Faller, representing Norway. And finally, in that very distinctive outfit for Slovenia, Katja Wisner, who's 15th in the World Cup sprint rankings for women at the moment. And it's Wisner who was fastest, 3:09.34, her qualifying time. Just under a second slower than Hannah Falk, who was the fastest qualifier. And yeah, that was too near the wands there, which I think are all still in place. Yes, they are. Started just wanting them to come forward again. So away they go, and Öberg on the far side, the one who has the hardest job to cut right from the outside, right across, as you can see, and inevitably in last place, while Wisner storms up the hill there. Katja Wisner for Slovenia, 26 years of age, from the gorgeous little town of Bled and its beautiful lake. 16th in the Olympic Classic final. This her 33rd World Cup start, and yet to hit a podium. or achieve a podium, I should say. The best she's ever finished actually in a freestyle sprint. That was last season in Rybinsk when she was in 6th place. And she's leading them up now from Maiken Kaspersen Faller for Norway. She's the first of the two in the red there. Faller, quite impressive addition to the Norwegian squad, particularly looking at performance last weekend in Liberec when she was 5th in the freestyle sprint there. Also 9th in the freestyle sprint in Davos, so pretty useful at the 1200-meter distance. And she's in 2nd place at the moment. And they are really spread out here. Look at this, right at the back there, Jenny Öberg. Well, it'd take a miracle to get her back into this. Also, likewise for the Russian Sobolova. And this is all about the front two there. The other Norwegian trying to get back into this, Kari Vikhagen Heitnes, with some work to do, but not completely out of it, as you can see. And those three have got a big gap. Kari in 3rd place there from Mulder, mid-20s, and junior world classic sprint champion. That's Kari Vikhagen Heitnes I'm talking about, the 3rd of those three in Rovaniemi in 2005. So what's that, 6 years ago when she was 20 years of age. So still looking to convert that. 24 World Cup starts, and like her Norwegian teammate, yet to get a World Cup podium. So Faller now in 2nd place. 3rd place Heitnes, as they come into this very long, grueling finish now. And it's all going to be about time for Heitnes in the 3rd place now. 3:04, that very fast time, 3:04.3 of Bjørgens. And there you can see, coming up now to the finish now, 3:03, 3:04, they're past that. 3:05, and for me, I think it's going to be, I'll just have to wait and see, but Andersen and Saarinen indeed are the two lucky losers who go through. So, Hanna Falk and Daria Gajova for Sweden and Canada are qualifiers. Petra Madic for Slovenia, Perju Maranen. And then Aino Kaiser Saarinen is a lucky loser, Britta Johansson Norgren, Hanna Brodin, and then Marit Bjørgen and Justina Kowalczyk, they're through, and Katja Wisnar and Maiken Kaspersen Faller, they all advance to the semi-finals. So, very interesting. Marit Bjørgen, very impressive, I have to say. And that 44th victory, well, it's a real possibility now. So straight on to the men's division, and it's Ola Viggen Hadestad who stands out here as the fastest qualifier, but we begin with the slowest qualifier, who is in the outside lane, Valerio Leccardi for Switzerland. Then wearing 21, big cheer for the local man, Antti Sarapuu. Now the distance that the men race is over 1,400 meters. Peter Kummel, another Estonian here. And then in red for Norway, it's Eldar Rønning, the hero of yesterday. Can he make it a weekend double? Not impossible for Eldar Rønning. And yet another Estonian, Kain Ainaste. And closest to you is going to be Ola Viggen Hadestad. Ola Viggen Hadestad, 2nd in the Sprint Cup rankings, the Wiesmann Sprint Cup rankings, to Emil Jonsson, who was off with a little sickness and didn't figure last weekend in Liberec. So the big man, Hadestad, closest to you, nearest to you. Then Sarapuu, sorry, then Ainaste, I should say. So Hadestad pouring away on the near side, his fastest qualification time of 3:19.25, giving him pole position. But look at the size of Enaste. He is a giant of a man. Towers over everybody in this particular lineup here. Enaste almost shoulder to shoulder with Ola Vigen Hadestad. Enaste from Panu, 25 years of age. Just on the left of your picture there. Not too many World Cup starts, only 17 in his career. And he's not just a sprinter, he can do the distances. Last year he was as good as 5th in Kusamo. But the noise here is all about the Estonians. Eldar Röning at the back there. I just wonder whether the exertions of yesterday will take their toll on him. Or is he saving? He's a very strong double polar, and now beginning on the good glide there, but on the outside didn't really help him. And the Norwegians are 3rd and 6th at the moment. Oh, and Röning, a little slip there. Under pressure, the Estonians really making this tough from the front. The other man involved here is Leccardi of Italy, but fighting this tough here. And it's Enaste who's striding up now. Hadestad getting there, 21 on the far side. That's Sarapu on the left there behind Enaste. Kummel on the near side. Kummel on your left now. Enaste on the right. Hadestad, second file, being followed by Röning. This is a real charge. Remember, when they come back into the stadium, they've got this really long haul. And actually, they're all pretty close. Close enough, if good enough. Nasty little turn that. You really lose power, and it's the Estonians into the power glide. Coming down now, Kummel and Enaste with an advantage over Hadestad. As I said right at the beginning, we don't usually have surprises here. Emil Jonsson was the winner here a year ago. Hadestad 2 seasons ago. Eldar Röning won it in 2008. Svortadel won it for Norway in 2007. And at the moment, Eldar Röning, who won it in 2008, as you can see there, at the moment only in 5th place. Hadestad coming round. Look at Hadestad's power on the right there, taking on Enaste. And suddenly, look at this. The Estonians are really going for this. This is real power polling. And in 3rd place, Peder Kummel at the moment, shoulder to shoulder with the Hadestad. Hadestad just about in 2nd place. They go towards the line. Hadestad increases the power, kicks again. He's in 2nd place. But look at the man, Enaste, the giant, wins it. Beats Hadestad, and that's an interesting time, 3:21. Well, that wasn't easy. Hadestad was given a real outing there. Peder Kummel, the man in 3rd place with a time of, well, it'll be well, I think he's inside 3:22, just waiting for the result of the photograph. 3:21.2, that makes Peder Kummel 3:21.7. So in terms of lucky losers, he may have a chance. And in fact, that's been rounded up to 0.6, so 3:21.8 in fact for Peder Kummel. But Hadestad was really made to work by this big man. And you can see almost getting into real trouble there. Well, just a moment to catch our breath, because the next heat is fascinating, because it's a real outsider who's led here in terms of being the fastest qualifier. This is Mikael Novicichin. We're going to start with Jens Eriksson, who's on the outside for Sweden. And then next to him, Daniel Rickardsson, the runner-up yesterday for Sweden in the 15-kilometer classic. But he's not a bad sprinter either. But like Eldar Röning, how much has yesterday taken out of his legs? Another Estonian, Karel Tamjav. You can get the message here that the Estonians are really into the sprinting and making to look this to this to be one of their tours de force in the seasons to come. Simselis, another Estonian, and now Jesper Modin, another strong, big, tall man for Sweden, and Novichin for Russia. Just coming into World Cup. He's only had a couple of World Cup starts, and we haven't seen him in World Cup for a couple of seasons since he finished top 15 in the Rybinsk sprint. So he's very much an unknown, the man on the near side. 3:21.38. He was considerably slower than Harstad, who had the fastest qualifying time in 3:19.25. But as we've seen over recent seasons, the Russians have also put a lot of investment into their sprinters. And powering up there also Jesper Modin, centre, and 14 on the left there, that's Simselis. And Modin now with maybe just the edge. Simselis actually on the near side, on the left of your picture now, setting the pace here. And again, you'd have to regard him as something of an outsider. Early 20s, 23 years of age. Who, again, this is just his fourth World Cup start. He's been competing in juniors and under 23s. But that would be a big surprise if he can pull this off, Jesper Modin. And then the other Swede involved here. Well, Rickardson's involved. There are three Swedes and Jens Eriksson. 27. That is Jens Eriksson in third place. And Daniel Rickardsson at the back. And it may well be that he is going to have the same fate as Röding, just not enough recovery time. So Modin sort of bullying his way round there, the man who's fourth in the sprint rankings. First sprint was in Kuusamo when he was only, classic sprint I should say, when he was only 22nd, sixth in Liberec last weekend, and now moving up, Modin double poling, and look at that coming up on the near side there, Jens Eriksson, and the skis of Modin are not working, and Modin being forced to double pole and lose a lot of ground. And Jens Eriksson suddenly has burst through from the back, and this is again a bit of a surprise to see Jens Eriksson up there in a commanding position at this point. Jens Eriksson, again another 23-year-old with very little World Cup experience, only his fifth World Cup. 12th in Kuusamo in the classic sprint there, and that's a pretty tough climb, as many of you will know, up that big hill before they come into the stadium complex. And now Modin with his power regaining the advantage over Jens Eriksson, and it's all Sweden at the moment. Daniel Rickardsson coming into third place now, and Modin well clear. 3:21 the time, 3:21.2 the time of Kainanaste in winning the first quarter-final. Modin's absolutely out on his own. No question he's going to qualify. Look at the time, though. Comes to the line, eases up in 3:17. And Eriksson in second place there. So it's a Swedish 1-2-3. And just on the race time there, that would put Daniel Rickardsson and indeed Mihhail Novichin into the semi-finals by way of lucky losers, but I just don't think it's going to stay like that. Modin, incredible the way he powered up that last hill with double poling. So Eriksson and Rickardsson, you can see how close they were, just 200ths in favor of Eriksson to get the automatic qualifying place. And wintry weather returning here with a lot more snow and wind now as we look at the third quarterfinal. And the slowest of the qualifiers was Theodor Pedersen, 3:27.02, and that was almost 5 seconds down on the man who had the fastest time, his own, or Matthias Stransvall of Finland. This is Ville Nusiainen of Finland. And then Timo Andre Bakken for Norway. More talent for the Norwegians. But whereas he's relatively unknown, this man, Simon Østersen, is most certainly not. Østersen, mid-20s, and his best ever, a freestyle second place in Prague in the freestyle sprint. And then Emil Jonsson, you just saw momentarily there, the tour leader in the sprint rankings, and Matthias Stransvall. But with Jonsson, I just need to put a caveat in here because he has been on the easy list. He's been feeling a little sick, so he doesn't know quite, and we don't know quite how good he is. But there he is, wearing that red bib, the World Cup sprint leader. Jonsson, who was victorious in Dusseldorf and in Davos and in Oberstdorf. So 3 victories, but it's the Norwegians trying to put themselves into a very strong position at the start of this race. And that is a strong start there by Timo Andre Bakken. Well, that's a confident start, but Jonsson tucks into second place. Interesting to see Bakken powering up in the way that he did there, shoulder to shoulder with the leader. Another, as I said, of the newcomers. He's 21 years of age, the man who's just about in second place, third place, I would say now. And he's only had 3 World Cup starts, but now something like normal service being resumed up front there, with Theodor Pedersen shadowing his teammate Emil Jonsson, who's gone up into the lead. Jonsson in his mid-20s, disappointing in the Olympics when he was only 7th in the classic sprint, and suddenly Stransvall, the fastest qualifier, bursts through now to start to play a part in this. Matthias Stransvall, 5th in Liberec last weekend in the freestyle sprint. Not so good in Kuusamo, the opening classic sprint, when he was down in 17th place. But Stransvall is a good sprinter, but down in 21st place in the sprint rankings. But he's only had really 2 outings, Kuusamo and last week. So perhaps too early to make a judgment on his form. Jonsson going with him, and up the hill to this quite tight turn here. This brings Jonsson around. He's much neater than Stransvall round the turn there, and gets first glide down the hill. 3rd place to Theodor Pedersen for Sweden, and then Nusiainen, and then the 2 Norwegians at the back there, Østersen and Bakken in red for Norway. Jonsson has a little look, Stransvall has a little look, Pedersen, Nusiainen up into 4th place. Now the Norwegians closing as well. Østersen and Bakken now getting back into this, 15. That is Østersen, who is the closest of the Norwegians, following Jonsson. And now this is the double poling from hell, because Jonsson putting the turbos in there and accelerating, and it's Østersen just about in 2nd place, or is he? Stransvall, it's very tight there, 3 across. Pedersen on the far side, Stransvall, and then Østersen and Jonsson, and now look at Pedersen. Pedersen coming up to vie, and it's a Sweden 1-2, is it? Jonsson, oh, Jonsson, he almost gave it away. He's in a photograph with Stransvall. It's a big photograph, a massive photograph, but Jonsson seemed to almost just ease off at a crucial time. He thought he was there and he wasn't. Theodor Pedersen on the right of your picture. You can't really tell at this angle. He cruises, almost kids Jonsson. Now, this is, Jonsson has got second place, Stransvald third, 3:22.3, but that's way slower. And Stransvald, who is only in third place, he may not make it. So Jonsson and Theodor Pedersen, 2 more for Sweden. Stransvald lunging, you can see that dark boot there, the Finnish boot, but he got himself into a tangle. So on to quarterfinal number 4, Nikita Krukov, the fastest. We'll meet him in a minute. This is Nikolai Chobotko. Chobotko, not a bad outing yesterday, 12th in the 15-kilometer classic. But we've seen Röning pay a little bit. Rickardson, not so much. I wonder whether it's going to affect Chobotko. Another Estonian, Vahur Tepan, who's qualified. And then Josef Wenzel, this improving young German. About 6 seconds slower than the fastest in his heat. And now Yuichi Onda for Japan. Very, very experienced classic racer. And then Christoph Eigerman for Switzerland. And last but certainly not least, Nikita Krukov for Russia. And he's going to be on the near side, closest to you as they take off under the starter. Krukov, the Olympic champion, close to you, the Olympic champion from Vancouver. Well, interesting to see how he does, because his form this season has been virtually non-existent from Krukov, but building up to the World Championships and charging round the outside there in a very, well, not exactly elegant way. That's 22, and that's Tepan of Estonia. Krukov got left there, and the man who's really dived into a lead is Christoph Eigerman. And that's a very useful early advantage. Not easy to maintain this, and they'll be on the charge. Wenzel moving up into third place, Krukov down to fourth. And Onda also taken off his feet. And Eigerman double poling up here. Skips around this turn. 22, his closest pursuer. That's Vahur Tepan of Estonia. Well, Christoph Eigerman, can he maintain this? That's the interesting thing. Good glide on his skis there for the 31-year-old Swiss, who's been coached by no less a man than Tor Arne Hetland. So who better to teach you than that man? Had one top 10 finish in the sprint, but it was a freestyle sprint in Dusseldorf earlier in the season, and out of the points in Davos in the high altitude sprint. Krukov now with Wenzel trying to make an impression now on the Swiss. Chobotko on the right there, for on the left as you look at the back there, just behind Krukov, who's on your left of picture. And Eigerman working hard to get up here, and Wenzel moving smoothly. Onda, I should say, moving smoothly into second place. I do beg your pardon. Yuichi Onda and Josef Wenzel, there's a bit of similarity about their suits. And Yuichi Onda, well, it'd be excellent to see the Japanese qualify here. He's had a long and distinguished career, but still that victory has eluded him in World Cup. He's been fourth. A couple of seasons ago, he was fourth in Trondheim, one of his best results in a classic sprint. Eigerman still with the advantage, and there's a real scrap going on for second qualifying position there. Kazakhstan in there, Russia in there. Krukov in second place at the moment on the outside. You can see Joseph Wenzel for Germany, but at the moment it's Switzerland from Japan, then Krukov for Russia, then Kazakhstan, then Germany. Under the arch they go into this final drive now. And Eigerman clinging on. Onda goes into the lead now. Onda for Japan. Onda stretching away towards the finish. Look at the power. Really getting great purchase here. And Krukov goes second. Jabotko goes third. Onda looks round. He's done enough. And he punches the air there. Krukov comes through to take second place. Jabotko 3:23. So Krukov will get through. Onda will get through. But Jabotko, I'm afraid, I think, even though he's third, I just don't think that's going to be quick enough. Theodor Pedersen was 3:22 in his heat, and the second one was 3:17 from Jesper Modin. So I'm still thinking that Daniel Rickardson and Mihhail Novichin from Russia could be the men to get the lucky loser spots. So Mikhail Deviatorov of Russia. Now Alexei Parfanov for Russia. They've got three in this. And this is going to be a mighty dust-up here with the Russians. Peter Northug at his very best could deal with these. Pajinski for Russia, the Olympic silver medalist, behind Nikita Krukov in Vancouver, and the junior world champion 2 seasons ago, and Erik Bransdal, the fastest qualifier. Well, this is a real tough call here. It's Bransdal closest to you. Pajinski 2 away. Northug. And the man who got taken off his feet there was Deviatov of Russia, now trying to make amends. And Bransdal gets the pole position going up the hill, being followed by Northug. But the Russians here could be a real handful. Parfanov up there on the left of your picture now, and vying with Northug. Northug on the near side, just coming through on the left as you look at them going under the bridge there. Peter Northug still not at his, or I should say Bransdal actually up there, and now sorting themselves out. There's been a lot of chopping and changing there, but 18 into the lead. That is Andrei Parfanov. Parfanov leading down on the glide. Parfanov, who was a bronze medalist last year in the under-23 freestyle sprint. 10th in Dusseldorf earlier in the season, again a freestyle sprint, so interesting to see how he prevails here. 13, Peter Northug now going into second place. And Northug will want to, for sure. Here could, oh, tricky fall, and this is the crucial climb here now. 23, that's Deviatov, so it's Pajinski was the man who went down, the Olympic silver medalist. Parfanov, though, still leading the way. Northug accelerating with that double poling coming up to this top turn. Peter Northug, mid-20s now. Northug, who, of course, was Olympic champion in Whistler, but over 50 kilometers in classic racing, and the bronze medalist in the Olympic Games. And the two Norwegians up there now, Northug and also his teammate Bransdal. But it's Parfanov who's got a useful break. The Norwegians having a little look around there. Brinterson of Sweden right behind. And they've got away from Deviatov And Pajinski, that big fall of his, ruling him out of contention. So Parfanov and Northug steps out now, and there you can see actually Pajinski, he's done awfully well to get up and get going, and he's almost on terms with his teammate. Can't believe he's going to get back into this, because you can see the wide gap. But Pajinski double poling right at the back there, and the two Norwegians now go through, and it's Northug and Bransdal. Northug and Bransdal going for the line here, and Parfanov could be unlucky. Bransdal, Northug, and just looking at the time, 3:22. So by my reckoning, Rickardson has got through. I'll just give you the lucky losers. They are Daniel Rickardson and Mihhail Novichin of Sweden, Novichin of Russia and Sweden respectively. They also make it to the first of the women's semi-finals. Lina Andersson, a lucky loser, Daria Gajova and Perja Marana. This is Britta Johansson, and the fastest two, Petra Maric and Hanna Falk. Hanna Falk. So Hanna Falk, the defending Otepyaa champion, the fastest in qualifying, and Maric, it is on the near side, and Maric in there because of her faster time in the semi-finals, 3:05.4, whereas Falk had 3:06.8. Incidentally, no less than 5 Swedes through to the men's semi-finals, and a lot of Swedes here as well. 3 of them, Andersson, Johansson and Falk. But Petra Maric will be a handful, I think, for all of them. Maric, a 2-time winner here in Otepyaa in 2008 and 2009. Hanna Falk, last year's champion. And Hanna Falk wearing 1 there. Just tucking into second place, the dark outfit for Finland's Perja Marana. And then Gajova in the red for Canada. And towards the back, well, 6 for Sweden, looking very uncomfortable. Britta Johansson, who just really got shuffled back there, and Lina Andersson ahead of her. So Maric striding up. This is what she does best. Classic sprinting. This is food and drink. And Maric skips around there very impressively. The Olympic bronze medalist, the woman who minutes before the qualification, you may remember in Vancouver in training, slipped down a hole, broke 5 ribs, then in terrific pain put mind over matter to qualify and then go all the way through to the final and secure a bronze medal. It was one of the really gutsy performances, if not the most gutsy performance of the whole Olympic Games. And Petra Maric, now 31 years of age, career wins 15, and lots of them in sprint. Her most recent success in Oberstdorf when she won the classic sprint as part of the Tour de Ski. And now moving up, Lina Andersson. Hanna Falk has been shuffled back there, maybe just saving some power for the final double pole into the stadium. 6, Britta Nygren Britta Johansson trying to put herself into a strong position, and suddenly last year's champion is in last place. And Gajova of Canada in 5th spot, just 1 spot ahead of her. But Maric is dictating here. Moranen in 3rd place, and it's the same as it was in the quarterfinals. First 2 get a place in the final by right, and then there are lucky loser places, so time is important. You need to be as tight and as close to Maric as you possibly can. And Lena Andersson, this is really good to see Lena produce this sort of form a few weeks away from the World Championships. She could be in line for a team classic sprint place here. Maric and Andersson in second place, Moran in third. Gajova now on the near side for Canada, producing her final sprint. Hannah Falk, the defending champion, Britta Norgren at the moment not able to do anything about this, and it's Maric who crosses the line. And crosses the line ahead of Lena Andersson. In third place, Pirjo Moranen, 3:10.1. So that means that Pirjo Moranen, the 2001 World Sprint Champion, has a chance of a lucky loser spot. 3:11.1 would be her time. Gajova would be 3:11.2. So it just depends on whether the next semi-final is quicker, and it might be. There's a confirmation. Bit of a surprise. Hannah Falk, the defending champion, running out of gas, not able to deal with Petra Maric. Maybe something with the skis, but that was unexpected. So Marit Bjørgen. We'll meet her in a minute, but this is Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, the outsider of the class, a lucky loser, getting through into the semi-final stages. Justyna Kowalczyk bouncing up and down, keeping warm, keeping supple. Katja Visnar next up for Slovenia. So Slovenia could be double-handed in the final. We could have two lemons or lemon-suited athletes racing for Slovenia in those distinctive outfits. Hannah Brodin, who really powered her way through to qualify for the semi-finals. Maiken Kaspersen-Faller, who is becoming increasingly impressive, and teamed up with Marit Bjørgen, and loved the experience in Liberec. And Marit Bjørgen, closest to you. Bjørgen, quick, but Visnar just that little bit quicker, but Bjørgen's very, very cool. Coming up to this left-hander now, Visnar cutting across to try and get the advantage. But remember, Bjørgen stayed on the inside and now into her running. Visnar doing exactly what she did in the quarters, which is to make a very strong start there. 16 moving up, that is Hannah Brodin. 5 at the back, that's Aino-Kaisa Saarinen. And Justyna Kowalczyk with her. So Visnar into the glide, and Maiken Kaspersen-Faller also up with Marit Bjørgen. Bjørgen, who once upon a time, her trademark, of course, was using these big hills. This is where she used to charge up and destroy the opposition, and she still has that ability. But Petra Maric being taken on here by Faller. Oh, and Bjørgen caught out there. That wasn't the best of Bjørgen. It leaves her with work to do now, particularly as they come down into the stadium. So it's Slovenia, but it is Faller in second place. Then after Faller, it's Hannah Brodin. Then after that, Saarinen, who's in fourth place. Then Marit Bjørgen. So Visnar, who's virtually led all the way through this. Justyna Kowalczyk being taken off her feet, but she'll have power down the straight here now. And look at this, coming down towards the business end. Remember, they've got this little climb before they come into the finish proper. 1,200 meters, 200 meters less than the men. And Bjørgen desperately needs to get into a good position here. And now Justyna trying to close up there. But maybe this isn't her course either. Visnar leading the way here. Quite impressive. Nobody's really headed her as yet. Katja Visnar doing the job really well. So Visnar still pushing away from the front. and the Slovenian has the edge. Björgen just about into third place, and time is going to be a factor here, because Wisner, 26 years of age from Bled, still has the advantage, and Faller just to her left, and Björgen right behind now. They come to the arch, and now Björgen just poised now to make her attack, following Wisner. Has Wisner got the strength to hold them off? And also Hannah Brodin on the far side. Now Björgen gets a free run, but she had to move to the side. Brodin on the far side, Faller, and also Wisner, and Björgen's being run out of this. Justina Kowalczyk closing as well, but it's Brodin. And it's Brodin and Wisner with Faller in third place, 3:09. So having a look at that, 3:09.7, and the lucky losers are Faller and Kowalczyk, and Björgen is not in the final. It will not be win number 44. Well, it's interesting how yesterday's heroes and heroines have found it difficult today. So straight on to the men's semi-finals now. The same rules and regulations. And this should be a fascinating race between these powerful, powerful men. And you're going to see an awful lot of Sweden. 4 Swedes in the lineup here. Modin, Jönsson, Eriksson, Rickardsson. Well, on paper, you'd expect Modin and Eriksson and Jönsson to make it through. So just reflecting as you see those pictures there, Wisner, of course, and Madic making it 2 Slovenians in the final. This is classic, and might that be the classic partnership for Slovenia in the upcoming Worlds? There's Björgen on the left of your picture, and she was right behind Wisner. She had to move to change tracks. She didn't do that particularly effectively, and could never get back on terms. And all credit to Justina Kowalczyk, who just stuck to the task and has got the reward by being a lucky loser. Well, so to the gentleman now, Daniel Rickardsson wearing 24, the outsider of the 6 here. But as I said, one of 4 Swedes in this first semi-final. We've got 4 Swedes. We've got Hatterstad, the sprint World Cup master, who's involved in this one here, Hatterstad. So this is a real tough call here for the men. Emil Jönsson, first in the sprint rankings. Hatterstad, second in the sprint rankings. And Modin, who you're going to meet in a moment, he's 4th in the sprint rankings. And the only man who isn't here is the Italian Fulvio Scola, who from Italy. Ainaste, the giant Ainaste from Estonia. And Jesper Modin. Well, who would you put your money on here? So difficult to call. This is going to be brutal. And as they take off, just have a look at the power that these men generate. Their feet, their skis actually come off the snow. And Modin on the near side there, being taken on immediately by Ainaste. And Ainaste goes into first place there. And then Jönsson coming up there. Just a concern from the coaches, has somebody got a broken pole? I don't think so. And suddenly it's Estonia, and the horns and the cheers are for Ainaste. Well, can he lead it from start to finish? I just wonder. This is a very, very tough call, and suddenly bursting through Hatterstad. Hatterstad's had enough. He says, right, I'm going to set the pace in this race. Ainaste shuttle back to 3rd place. Searching the big Estonian for his first ever World Cup podium. He's been 5th. but that's the best he's been in 17 World Cup starts before today. But Harstad has gone. He has decided to put a lot of power in here, and look at the advantage he's opened up here. Just watching the glide, pretty good, I have to say. Harstad keeping out of trouble, that left-hander where Pajinski had his fall. And Jonsson now trying to move up. Is Jonsson fully fit? This is where we're really going to find out. He's been suffering from a little flu-like cold. And they've closed on Harstad. A pole there for Anaste. So can he get back into this, the Estonian? Pretty tough call. You can see the others have left him with an awful lot to do. In third place there, that's 7, that's Jesper Modin, and right behind is Rickardson. Eriksson also in this, Jesper Eriksson wearing 27. He's just at the back of that little fivesome. There's the Estonian, who I think has accepted it. Harstad being chased by Jonsson. Norway holding off the Swedish charge at the moment, that is. Jonsson getting closer. Modin shadowing. Then a break. Back to Rickardson and Eriksson. Modin comes up on Harstad as Jonsson goes through to take up the advantage. Emil Jonsson from Borlänge. The Swede wearing the bib, and the sprint leader now being challenged by his own teammate here, and Ola Viggen Harstad being taken on here. The Norwegian, is he going to get blown out of this? Ola Viggen Harstad, the runner-up here in Otepyaa last year, now goes through to challenge now Jesper Modin, and it's Jonsson who's found out, and Harstad finds that little bit extra, doesn't he? Pulls away Modin, and in third place, Jonsson must wait now to see whether that time is going to be good enough. It gives Jonsson a time of 3:24.8, and that's going to be the crucial lucky loser time. So Harstad impressive. And bad luck there to the Estonian, really, for the broken pole. Harstad, of course, 4th in the Olympic Classic final. Behind Nortug, behind the Russians. And so on to the second semi-final. This is, well, first of all, qualification confirmation. Harstad and Jesper Modin into the final. So the men who are ranked in second and fourth place in the sprint rankings are safely through. And this is the lineup for the final semi-final, the second semi-final, I should say. Jonsson, of course, was the winner last year. Harstad 2 seasons ago. So they could still be involved here. But now, let's meet the semi-finalists. The lucky loser place for Mihhail Novichin for Russia. One of the 5 fastest in qualification earlier today. Peter Northug for Norway. Olympic bronze medalist. Northug in Vancouver in the classic sprint. Nikita Krukov, the Olympic champion. What a talented. Then Theodor Pedersen, who finished extremely fast there for Sweden. On for a lifetime best. He's really got a chance. He will surely have a lifetime best. And Yuichi Onda for Japan. If he gets on the podium, well, I think everybody will be delighted. And Erik Bransdal for Norway, the fastest of the quarterfinal qualifiers in this semi-final. Bransdal will be closest to you. Onda will be 2 away. Then Pedersen in the white. Then Krukov, the Olympic champion. Northug, and on the far side, Noviчихin for Russia. So it's a very strong start there by Pedersen in the white for Sweden. Being followed up the hill there by the first of the 2 Russians. Krukov, the Olympic champion, in 2nd place. Onda just about 3rd, ahead of Peter Northug in the right outfit, and that's the way they are. And then you've got the Bransdal, and at the back, Noviчихin from Russia. So Pedersen, interesting to see. He came very fast towards the end of his quarterfinal to get into the semi-finals, but electing to try and lead it from the front now. Northug still not looking completely the finished article, but there are several weeks to go before the World Championships. The Norwegians will go home for their national championships next week, and then we'll go to Sizer Arm in the Italian Tyrol to get ready for the Worlds. So still the Swede out in front. Russia just about 2nd from Norway. Onda being shuffled back into, what would that be, 4th place. Fifth, in fact, place, sorry. 5th place, and Noviчихin, the Russian rookie, finding this pretty tough, although he's getting on terms there with Northug, who's now slipped back, and Bransdal now coming through as the major Norwegian challenge. Northug, who's a little bit all over the place, and Onda clear running on the right of your screen there. So Onda now beginning to move up there to take perhaps 2nd place away from Krukov. Good tactically there by Onda. Will need good glide on his skis as they come round here and then drop down. But again, Theodor Pedersen really impressive at the moment. The Swedes, who really have been impressive, putting all but one of their men through to the semi-final stages. 5 out of 6 getting through to the semi-finals for Sweden. That is impressive. He looks round, Krukov in 2nd place. Onda's been shuffled back behind Bransdal into 4th spot. He needs to close up now. Northug goes 5th, and the other Russian, Noviчихin, stays in 5th place. So now it's Krukov. Krukov takes it up for the first time from Pedersen. And Northug going on the outside there. Bransdal, Onda needs to get past Pedersen if he wants to get onto the final. He's got to finish in the first 2, and there's no way. Onda is really closed down here by the Russian and the Norwegians. And the Swede, Pedersen, trying to get into it, but look at this. Northug on the far side, Bransdal, it could be a Norwegian 1-2. Krukov goes again, Krukov, one more pole push, and at the end of it all, Bransdal makes it. Northug just seemed to run out of puff. Now 3:27 compared to 3:23. That means that Northug does not make it, neither does Pedersen, but Emil Jonsson and Daniel Rickardson from the first semi-final, they are the lucky losers. So Jonsson, a previous winner, Hadestad, a previous winner, they both make the final. So it's Hadestad for Norway, Jesper Modin for Sweden, Jonsson for Sweden, Rickardson for Sweden, and then Krukov for Russia and Bransdal for Norway. We have 2 Norwegians, 3 Swedes, and a Russian in the final. And you can see how close it was for the Norwegians there. But it didn't really make any difference because the second semi-final was that much slower. Hadestad, Krukov, the Olympic champion, Bransdal, Modin, Jonsson, the top sprinter of the season so far. So a big final for the men, but before that, of course, we've got a huge final for the women. We thought it would be Marit Bjørgen. It is not Marit Bjørgen. She has failed to get in. It's 2 for Slovenia, 2 for Sweden, 1 for Norway, 1 for Poland. Maric for Slovenia, Visnar for Slovenia, Brodin and Andersen for Sweden, Faller for Norway, and Kowalczyk for Poland. And you have to take into account that these women coming up for the final now, they raced the time trial, they raced the quarters, they've raced the semis, so they've done 1,200 meters 3 times very intensively. And now for the 4th and final time of asking, 6 go for 3 places on the podium. Well, Petra Maric is bidding for a 3rd success here in the Otepyaa Classic Sprint, and that would be a very useful 100 points for her. If she can get those, it's really going to improve her chances in the overall World Cup. She's quite a way back in 5th place, 764 points behind Justyna Kowalczyk's 1,351. And these are the sort of races where Petra Maric has to really haul herself up into overall contention. So 2 for Slovenia, who might well team up for the Worlds in a few weeks' time in the Classic Team Sprint. Maric and Visnar, very interesting to see how they go, because both of those Slovenians like to dominate from the front. Brodin, we've seen her come with a late charge. Andersen, Faller improving all the time, and never rule out Justyna Kowalczyk. The engine in Kowalczyk is quite extraordinary. So the women's sprint, Keegan Randall, who leads the sprint rankings for America, absent Ariana Follis, who's number 2 in the sprint rankings, also not here. Maric is 3rd in the sprint rankings. Marit Bjørgen was 4th, but she's out of the big points now. Hannah Falk doesn't make any big points either here. So Faller, who was 5th in Liberec last weekend, she can really move up the sprint table, but so can Maric. Maric can take the lead in the sprint table. But let's meet the finalists. Justyna Kowalczyk, the leader of the overall World Cup rankings, on the outside, a lucky loser. And then the improving and more impressive race by race, Maiken Kaspersen Faller for Norway, arguably booking her place in the World Championship squad for Norway. Lena Andersen looking, this is so good to see Lena back to something like her very best. And then Visnar, the first of 2 Slovenians, right in the center of the echelon. And Hanna Brodin for Sweden, powerful finisher. And she's going to have all that power to take on this woman. Going for an Otepyaa hat-trick, Petra Maric, the Olympic bronze medalist. So Maric is closest to you, 2 away. Brodin in white for Sweden, then Visnar for Slovenia, then Andersen, then Faller in red for Norway. Kowalczyk in the dark strip on the outside. And it's the Slovenians surely are going to try and dominate this one. Kowalczyk will tuck in behind, she doesn't have any choice. Faller will try to cut across, and there she goes. Faller going into 4th place. And up there, that's Brodin. Lena Andersen on the inside there, trying to skip up the inside. Faller, good track craft there, going into 3rd place. You can just see the difference in physique between the 2 Slovenians and the emerging Norwegian. Maric it is, from Visnar. And the Slovenians would love to make this a 1-2. That would be really special. Maric, 1.77 meters. and looks extremely tall amongst her opponents here, but good long leverage. But, you know, it's great to see her back to her very best now. Again, those skating steps permitted when you go round the corner, but then you've got to be straight back into stride and glide, or glide as it is in this case. 1,200 meters, getting towards the halfway stage now, and it's Slovenia, Norway, Slovenia, then Justyna Kowalczyk in 4th place, then the 2 Swedes. And Brodin and Anderson have got some work to do here. Brodin is the better of the 2. Anderson has just been taken a little bit off her pace there. And now Majka Kaspersen-Faller just coming up to cheekily have a little go at Petra Madic. Katja Visna on the inside. Brodin following the Norwegian in the red. Lena Anderson trying to get back into this. Justyna Kowalczyk also now using that power. And actually Justyna looking good now. Justyna now mixing it up there. Just ran into a little traffic problem, had to hold off, but knows that she's got to stay close here for this power finish. Petra Madic. Visna's been shuttled back. Brodin's made some progress. It's Slovenia, it's Norway, it's Sweden, and it is Petra Madic from Faller, and then Brodin, and then Visna, and then Kowalczyk, and finally Lena Anderson. And can Madic make it gun to tape, pillar to post? So far, things looking really good, but can either of the 2 women behind her? And look at Madic, she just accelerates away. She kicked and went, and Madic is going away. Brodin goes 2nd. That was expected for her to put the power on. Faller looking for her first World Cup podium, coming round towards the finish now, and it's Madic really powering on in the double pole here. Brodin closing maybe a little bit. Still Faller securing 3rd place, but it's Madic. She won here 2 years ago. She won here 3 years ago. She's done it, and it's 3 times a winner for Petra Madic here. Brodin in 2nd place. Faller is 3rd. Kowalczyk 4th. And then Lena Anderson coming up to take Katja Visna, who faded into last spot there. But real respect for Petra Madic from the crowd here in Otepyaa. There were some 8,000 of them here yesterday. I wouldn't say there were as many today, but they're as noisy as they were yesterday, that's for sure. And that is 100 World Cup points for Petra Madic, who goes top of the Wiesmann World Cup sprint rankings, overtaking Ariana Follis, overtaking Kikan Randall. And for Hannah Brodin in 2nd place. 1 or 2 personal bests might be coming up here. Just need to check on Hannah Brodin's. Pretty sure, actually, Hannah Brodin, who should, by my reckoning, that is a lifetime best for Hannah Brodin. 6th in Dusseldorf, 8th in Liberec this season. Now the runner-up here in Otepyaa. So well done to Sweden's Hannah Brodin. And a similar congratulations needs to be handed out to Majka Kaspersen-Faller, because I think, again, we've got a personal best here for her. Indeed, her first ever World Cup podium. So 2 women on the podium for the first time. There is Kaspersen-Faller coming home behind Hannah Brodin. Sweden and Norway with 2 youngsters showing that they are improving forces in this. Faller just 20 years of age, and that's a special day for her. Madic, she's used to winning, but for the others, well, as special as it is for Madic, it also is as special for Brodin and Faller. And Petra Madic, that would be for her career World Cup successes now up to 16 from 175 World Cup starts. But Madic, 3 times a winner in Otepyaa, and bodes well for the World Championships for the tall Slovenian. Well, we're not done yet, not quite. Should get a word. Sandra Spitz, our roving attaché, should certainly get a word with Petra Maric, who should hopefully be absolutely jubilant after that success. Still the men's final to come, of course. But here she is. And here's Sandra.
Congratulations to the race. What's your comment to it?
I must, first of all, say thank you to all public here. You are simply the best. I must say that yesterday, when I was competing on 10K classical, you were really rocking. I was so much enjoying competing, never before. I must admit that it was something special. You were screaming my name all over the place, and I was so glad to compete here. Thank you, Otepyaa.
You are unbelievably strong in the final. Where did you get the power from so early in the morning?
Oh, this was really early. Huh? I was not used to. Usually I turn on the second heap in such an hour in the morning, so really it was early. But you know, when they give me a chance to win here, for sure I will try push myself too much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, a lovely tribute from a fantastic athlete to a super crowd. And just a reminder that the Junior Worlds are here, and you'll be able to see a lot of the action from the Junior Worlds on Eurosport in the coming 10 days or so. So do try and keep an eye on that, because I'm sure the fans will be here to give all the youngsters the sort of support they've given to these elite athletes in the World Cup. Well, we now have to turn our attention to the men's final, and what a cracker this could be. Hadestad, second in the overall sprint rankings. The Olympic champion Krukov, Jesper Modin, Emil Jonsson, the top sprinter of the season. Rickardson, runner-up yesterday in the 10-kilometer classic. The man who, from yesterday's competition, has done best of all in coming forward to today's sprint. So what a race, what a final in prospect here. Well, Ola Viggen Hadestad, he was really unhappy, so unhappy in Vancouver when he finished in 4th place in the Olympic Classic final. He's a man who is super talented in the sprints. He is the world champion in the freestyle sprint. He'll be defending that title in Liberec. And Hadestad, the fastest of the semi-final qualifiers, and he's going to be closest to you. We'll get an introduction to all of them in a moment. Krukov, who we haven't seen much of this season, the Olympic champion, but again building up towards the World Championships. There's the lineup. Hadestad and then Krukov, the Olympic champion. Bransdal, one of the fastest this morning, and then the very strong, tall Swede Modin. Jonsson, the sprint leader, and Rickardson, second only to Eldar Röning yesterday. Super sprinting talent, and there's Jesper Modin, and you can see how he towers over Erika Bransdal. From year to year, Otepyaa has gone from strength to strength. By the way, Christina Schmiegen was around yesterday, expecting her second child. Superb athlete, they'd love to have her back, but that isn't going to happen. The double Olympic champion from Torino. So, winter in Otepyaa, the sprint classic final. So, Jonsson, who won it last season, Hadestad, who won it in 2009. They're both here again. But first, it's Daniel Rickardson, runner-up yesterday. Could he possibly, from the outside, having got into the final via the lucky loser spot, go one better or five better? Jonsson, the defending Otepyaa Classic champion. Is he at full strength? or is he still recovering from that cold? Sweden again, the second of 3 Swedes, or in fact the third of 3 Swedes. Jesper Modin, the tallest of the 3. And to Norway, the first of 2 Norwegians, Erik Bransdal. Bransdal, who was in qualification earlier on today, the 3rd fastest. The Olympic champion, Nikita Krukov. And last but by no means certainly least, it is Harstad, who won here 2 seasons ago. Well, a real competitive lineup here. Bransdal. How's he going to fare in this sort of company, I wonder? So on the near side, on the left of your picture, that's Harstad. Now on the far side, cutting across the giant Modin to go into just about 2nd place, shoulder to shoulder with, on the far side there, the Olympic champion Krukov for Russia. So it's Norway, Russia and Sweden, then Emil Jonsson, and just at the back there, Daniel Rickardson. You have to think that this, the 4th race of the morning for Rickardson after the exertions of yesterday, might well take its toll at this particular moment, but he's done awfully well to get into this final. And Harstad deciding that he's going to dictate what happens here. 1,400 meters, this final examination here in Otepyaa. 3 hills to climb, and then this very long run for home where double poling is at a premium. Aerodynamic they go, and Harstad leads up Modin. Then Krukov in 3rd place. And then Bransdal, followed by Jonsson. And then finally Rickardson. Applying real power as they go over that roller. And Modin on the left of your picture, Harstad on the right. Harstad, who so far has shown that he keeps a little bit up his sleeve for that final 200-meter run for home, and particularly in the last 100, watch for him to kick away. But all the time, the petrol emptying from their tanks. It's like starting the day with a full tank of petrol, and now we're down to something like a 1/4 of a tank, because this is the 4th rotation around the course. Modin very strong on the double poling on the inside, but Harstad determined to get to the turn first of all. Rickardson on the outside, Jonsson staying inner, Bransdal on the right at the back there. Modin skips around, Harstad follows him, Jonsson up to 3rd, Krukov back to 4th. Nobody wanting to make a mistake. They take that pretty wide, that turn. Oh, and Krukov going where there was nowhere to go. And that could have been very nasty for the Russian. He's paid the penalty because he's got dropped right back to last place. Bransdal trying to come up on the inside of Harstad. So now Jonsson finds his way to the front, and on the right of your picture there, that's Harstad, 24, that's Rickardson, having a fantastic race, but it's Emil Jonsson being shadowed by Bransdal on the far side. Harstad, it's not over yet, Modin's in there, Krukov coming on the far side again, but it's Emil Jonsson, the leader of the sprint rankings, the defending champion, now shoulder to shoulder, suddenly Harstad, here comes Harstad on the far side, Krukov going with him, Ola Viggen, Harstad, Bransdal on the near side, Harstad on the far side, Bransdal! Oh, how can you call that? Bransdal and Harstad, it's a Norway 1-2, but who's got it? The angle was so difficult to see. I think Bransdal's got it on the near side from Harstad, and if it is, it's Bransdal's first World Cup success. Krukov 3rd, Rickardson 4th, a photograph between Jonsson and Modin at the back of the field there. Bransdal has got it. He is a World Cup winner. Erik Bransdal in his 14th World Cup start at the age of 24, becomes a World Cup winner in Otepäa, denying Ola Vigga Hadestad with Nikita Krukov, the Olympic champion, in third place on the podium. Fantastic race, fantastic finish. There were 3 Swedes in the race, but the Norwegians, they had the better of it. And Jonsson, well, you can see how much it's taken out. That's Bransdal's boot closest to you, and that's Hadestad's furthest away. Well, a wonderful morning of sprinting. I hope you've enjoyed the action with us here. And next, the World Cup Tour goes next weekend to Russia, to Rybinsk, where it's pursuit and freestyle sprinting. For myself, David Goldstrom, and the Eurosport Nordic team, as ever, thanks for watching. Thanks for your company. For now, bye-bye from Otepäa.